Welcome back to the shop. I'm Jeff from Today's Craftsman, and I'm standing next to our edge bander. This is a Cehisa compact PCS, and we teased this video a while back, asking everybody if they wanted to see a closer look at this. So we want to show you all of the guts of this machine, what everything does, and we'll run a few pieces, and you can see how a full-size automatic edge bander like this works. Have our pre-finished material here that we're going to be edge banding. I'm making some shelves for actually the red oak project that you guys saw. So this is the material to be edge banded, and this is our edge banding. This is a 1mm PVC. So this is actually plastic, but it has the hard rock maple face. So pretty good match here. Probably even better to that side. We like to use PVC just because it works a little bit better. Comes out nice and smooth. You have no chance of tear out. So let me show you how we get set up to run, a specific material and a specific edge banding. So first step here, we take our digital calipers, and everything on this machine will be in millimeters. So we take a measurement of the thickness of our material. And I like to do it in a couple different spots and sometimes a couple different pieces of material. So we're sitting somewhere right around, call it 18.5 millimeters. So we come here to this adjustment. This adjusts the height of this conveyor belt moving through. So we're going to set this to let's go 18.55. You don't want to go too tight, and you definitely don't want to go too loose. So we have our thickness set. That sets this right here. Our next adjustment is here. And to set this, we need to measure our edge banding. So same thing, we're measuring thickness here. 1.03, 1.03, 1.0. So we're gonna use one millimeter. So I need to loosen this knob here, and I have another knob to loosen in there. And then I need to set this to 1 millimeter. So you always want to come up to your number. There is a little bit of backlash in some of these, so you don't want to just go right to it if you're close already. So we can lock those down. Have our thickness set and our pre-milling set. So we'll come to the back of the machine here, and we'll actually load the edge banding in. So you see we have the back side facing the front of the machine, and it's on this little carousel here. So we feed it through this door. And you can see I have a little block here. I use this to keep this feed roller back when I'm loading the machine. So we push it past the first feed roller and into here. Now I have these set. These are little height guides. So these are already set to an edge banding this height, so I don't have to adjust those. We can release that. This is under pneumatic tension right now. So now we can start sort of back at the beginning. This is that knob that you saw me loosen to adjust the pre-milling. You might wonder what pre-milling is. So this is our pre-milling unit here, and you can see we have one arrow going this way, clockwise, and this arrow is going counterclockwise. So inside of there are two counter-rotating diamond tipped, basically segmented, like it's like a flush trim, not a flush trim, but it's a segmented cutter. So by moving this bar using this adjustment, we have it set to 1 millimeter right now. When we feed our piece in, these two heads are actually going to remove 1 millimeter of material from the edge of this piece. So you can imagine if I cut this to say 6 inches, I need a 6-inch finished piece, and then all of a sudden I add the edge banding to it. Now it's 6 and 1 millimeter. So what the pre-milling does is it subtracts the thickness of the edge banding. So when this comes out of the other side, I still have 6 inches total. And aside from that, it cleans up the edge. So if you have, this is a factory edge here, you can see it's not great. It will straighten that out and clean it up so it's nice and clean like this cut edge. So if you have any chip out when you're doing melamine or something like that, the pre-milling can actually take that off. So there's a lot of different ways to use pre-milling. If you're running CNC, you might be pre-milling less because you can account for that in your program on the CNC. But basically the way we use it is we're always subtracting the thickness of the edge banding so that we come out the other side the same dimension. Past the pre-milling, we have the glue pot here. So this is where we put our glue pellets. You can see they're melting in there. We just turned the machine on. So that's what the glue looks like. They're these little pearls, and you fill up this hopper and they melt, and they actually get fed through the bottom, and then up here there's a roller that's coated with glue. So the piece moves past it and the glue is applied to the edge of the material. As I was saying, we have a feed roller here. So this pushes the edge banding as well as this one here. So this will push forward and help feed the edge banding. Past the glue and these feed rollers, we have our pressure rollers here. So these are also something that we need to set based on the edge banding. So we can loosen this, and we want to make sure that this dial indicator down here is set to 1 millimeter. Tighten that back down. So once the edge banding is applied, these are going to push the edge banding into the material. So we need to make sure we have the right offset there. So that's everything in the first cabin of the edge bander. We can move here to the second cabin. Looks like I should have done a better job blowing this off last time I used it. Here we have the front and the back trimming. So when the piece comes through, there's going to be a little bit of edge banding hanging off of the front and a little bit hanging off of the back. And what this does is it trims those flush. So this bar here, so this is the back trimmer. This will actually ride against the back edge and it will flush trim to that. And there's another one here, which is the front trim, which you can't really see. But there's two circular saw blades in here with carbide tip, and they come out and they trim those flush. This is our top and bottom trimming unit. So these are guided by these big wheels here. So this is, again, it's like imagine a flush trim, and this is your bearing. So this has, you might be able to see here, some insert cutters that actually have, it's a bit of like a, I'm not sure how to explain it, but they're not straight cutters. There's a little bit of a radius, and you can adjust them in and out to achieve different radius for different thicknesses of edge banding. This is the corner rounding unit, so we don't use this often. What a corner rounding unit does is if you're edge banding all four sides of something, say you're making doors out of melamine, when the two edges come together, it's going to be a very sharp edge. This will actually break that edge. So it eliminates all that handwork if you're making doors. So that, again, this is like your bearing, and we have a cutter here. So that actually comes around and it will hit the front and the back edge. So this thing, you could see from these linear rails, it moves back and forth as well as up and down here. So it'll hit the front and the back edge of the door. Just past that, we have our radius scraping. So we have our guides here, and this is actually a scraper, and it will scrape the edge with the radius on it. And you can adjust this in and out to achieve different radii. Just past the radius scraper, we have the flat scraper. So that will remove any glue that got squeezed out between the edge banding and the material. And it's like a little, almost like a little chisel. You can see right here. So one of the reasons we like PVC edge banding is some of the wood edge bandings, when you go to flat trim them, because of the grain run out, you might get, a little bit of tear out. So when we can use PVC, we do default to that. And the last station here is the buffer. So there's two white buffing wheels, and they go ahead and clean up any residual glue. One thing I forgot to mention is in the front and the back of the machine, we actually have spray setups. So You can see here, we have a couple bottles down here, and these are actually an anti-stick spray. And I can show you where that comes in. So inside of the first cabin, these lines come in here. And before the piece goes to the pre-milling, it's spraying the top and bottom with an anti-stick coating. That's helping, you know, any glue that wants to roll over the edges when it gets to the glue roller, it helps it from sticking to the face of the material. And then here, right before the buffing, you can see these lines coming in, and this is spraying a cleaning agent. So before it hits buffing, it's sprayed with that cleaner, and then the buffers will actually remove any of that residual glue. So that's a great feature. It eliminates the need to go back and clean these things off. So we do turn those off when we're doing wood veneer, just because we don't want it to affect the finish. But yeah, when we're doing pre-fin or melamine, we turn those on. That's the inside of the machine. We can go to the control panel now and show you how we set it up. Before you run the edge bander, you do need to let the glue pot heat up, and we've already done that. We're here at the control panel, and you can see our temperatures here. We have them set to 200 Celsius at both. It takes about 15 minutes to heat up. And this is where you'll be able to turn on and off all your different stations. So we have our anti-stick spray here. We're going to turn that on. Pre-milling is on. Front and back trimming is on. Radius scraping is on. Flat scraping, that's our top and bottom trim. Pressure rollers, feed rollers. This is the guillotine, which trims the tag end of this off when the piece passes by. The only thing we're going to leave off for this is the corner rounding. So yeah, we have our material here. I always have a couple samples. So I'm making shelves. We're going to run 3 pieces that are 8 feet long, and then I'll cut them to length. Sometimes I'll cut them to length first. It doesn't really matter. This does a really good job at trimming the ends. But I always cut a couple samples. I like to run them and just make sure that I have everything set up the way I want. And also sometimes you get a glue bubble in the beginning there, so I don't have to worry about dealing with that on a finished piece. Nothing left but to turn it on. We'll turn on dust collection, and we'll show you how all these things work. There you have it. You saw us run some pieces through, some of these long pieces, and you can see how nice this PVC edge banding looks. So we have a nice polished edge here with that cleaning solution and those buffing pads. If this were, regular pre-finished on the face wood, we would have an unfinished edge here because the trimming is going to expose raw wood. It's another reason we like the PVC. It's very durable too. If you were to hit this, it's very strong. So looks like wood to me. Definitely a good option. It's what we like to use. The question is, is a, say, $60,000 edge bander worth it? For us it is. If we were to use an iron or even the Festool that we used to have, we couldn't be competitive with other cabinet shops. So for us to have a machine like this, it's really a necessity. Even though we're not running it every day, when we need to, we can edge band a whole kitchen in about 90 minutes. So 60 grand, it's a lot, but it's worth it. Maybe not for you. You let us know what you think down there in the comments. If you have any questions, let us know as well, and we'll see you next week.